Chapter 14. Packages. Cold water fell upon my body, waking me with a shock. Ah! I looked up at the cause. Alice stood over me with an empty glass in her hand. I stared with a just why expression. She smirked, throwing the last of the liquid into my eyes. I yelped slightly, rubbing my burning pupils with my left hand. "Alice, this isn't water," I called blindly, continuing to rub my eyes. "I never said it was," she added in the darkness. "What was it then?" I growled. "I don't know." "Do I look like I care?" "I don't know. Do you?" I spat. Seems fair, since my eyes are on fire. "Blah, you whine too much for your own good. Now get out of here." "Can I at least have a towel?" I questioned. "So needy," she sighed, throwing a cloth into my lap. I wiped my face with the stained oil cloth, creating smudge marks across my eyes. The Hispanic girl began to laugh. "You look like a raccoon," she giggled. "Shut it," I barked. "Aw, is Puppy upset? You're not a raccoon, just a little lost puppy," she joked cruelly. "How many times are you going to call me a puppy?" I gagged as I smelled the rag she had thrown at me. "For however many times it bothers you," Alice stated, honestly. I stood from the kitchen table, avoiding the metal pieces that surrounded my feet. I looked over at my shoulder. A piece of metal covered over my right shoulder, traveling to the end of my shoulder blade on my back and a little less than halfway down my chest. Straps attached both ends, holding my arm in place against my side. Olive had told me that I ripped the tendon and destroyed a good amount of tissue. She said I'd have to keep it in rest if I wanted any hope of it healing correctly. This was Alice's plan. I know I'm gonna regret this. "How long do I have to wear this?" I whined. Olive said at least 4 months. Most likely more, Alice snarled with enjoyment. I'm pretty sure she likes pissing me off. "Thanks," I huffed with annoyance. "Just be happy you didn't lose it," Howe stated bluntly, walking into the kitchen from the staircase. He stood with his same tired expression, with a metal box in his hands. "Is Eve still refusing to come out?" I questioned. "Well, she came out this morning, didn't she?" "Yes," I said. I rubbed the back of my head. I should have guessed that laying against the door would have been a bad idea, but she didn't have to open it that quickly. "Yeah, but she just went back in with a handful of food and a crow's nest of hair," Alice laughed. "She's just pissed, that's all. I'm sure she'll get over it," Howe sighed, placing the metal box on the table. "Have you opened it?" I asked, like a child at Christmas. "No, and I'd prefer not to until everyone is present. So, who wants to go get her?" "She said she'd electrocute me if I came anywhere near her door again," I pointed out. "I just don't want to," Alice replied. "Well, she won't listen to me," Hal explained. We stood in silence, not knowing what to do. Alice growled and crossed her arms. "Yvette, get your ass down here now, or I'll come up and get it," Alice screamed through the house. The power in the kitchen turned off suddenly. All three of us scanned the room with confusion. This seems oddly familiar, but I can't quite put my finger on it. "Oh, twerp. Turn them on now," Alice demanded. I turned to Hal. The boy leaned over to me, whispering as if in fear of the girl's hearing. "The power lines to the house run through Eve's room." "Ah." "I'm not coming down until I can leave the house," Eve called. "That doesn't have any sense." "You're such a child," Alice replied. "Should we stop them?" I questioned. "We should, but do you really want to try?" Hal smirked. "Oh, I'm the child, Miss Afraid of the Dark?" asked Eve. "You said you wouldn't tell anyone about that," Alice shrieked. "I promised nothing." "Puta." "Bitch." "Okay, calm down, girls," Hal finally intervened. "This is your fault," both girls called, simultaneously. "Fine," Hal gave in. "Eve, if you come down right now and end this nonsense, I'll get you a box of gummies, okay?" A door slammed upstairs, followed by rapid footsteps, with Eve appearing at the bottom of the stairs with an excited expression. "Really?" She came that easy for a box of gummies? Wait, what are gummies again? "Yes, really. Maybe after my rank will go up, and you can leave the house again, okay?" Hal huffed. You're seriously gonna get me gummies? Can I have the sour ones? Shaped like worms? Eve questioned excitedly. Yes, just please stop acting like this, Hal returned. Eve saluted in a comical fashion, agreeing to the deal. Now that that's over, time to open this damn thing, he sighed. We all gathered around the small metal object in a sort of wonder as to what it held. Hal unhinged the lock, pulling the box out of its hold. A small kit rested in the metal. Several pieces of paper with marks and charts on them rested at the bottom with an unmarked box and Q-tips laid on top. Hal lifted out a folder, a letter that fell out of the metal. It held a color-coded system to a list of random 6-symbol codes. Have to admit, I envisioned something nicer, Hal stated, pulling out the materials. Haven't you seen it before? I questioned. The first 5 kids must have stayed together, right? No. In fact, Marcus hated me with a burning passion in here. We never spoke more than a few words to each other before he passed. Hal seemed troubled, almost as if he were afraid of what he was saying. So the first 5 people didn't stay together? Eve asked. I guess this is the first time they've heard it, too. Not really. We broke into 2 teams, both thinking one side was working with the killer. I mean, with 2 people who looked identical, we assumed that the other was a fake. We were pretty dumb then. Anyway, off that subject. Alice, bring me the glove. Alice did what she was told, and left the room to get wherever they hid it. Why is it if I ask her to do anything, she'll hit me, but if Hal asks her, she rushes right off like her life depended on it? It only took Alice moments to return, with the blue latex glove. Guess it couldn't have been hidden that well. Then again, why would they even need to hide it? From the places I've been, this is the only place that I've been stabbed or crushed. Wait, I've been electrocuted here too. Okay, conclusion, everything in this world is trying to kill me. Glad I got that out of the way, a week late. Hal followed the instructions on the given papers, taking a sample of blood from the blue. It doesn't seem that hard. What is he playing? My eyes looked toward the ceiling with thought. What are you playing at, Game Maker? You're growing bored, aren't you? Not enough action for you. That's why you gave away the effect of phones on our bodies, isn't it? A show of your power along with a little excitement. So why are you making it so easy? Or are we just beginning? Your game has been going on for 2 years without a single player. I'll play if that's what you want, but I warn you, I have a very short attention span. John, Eve spat, hitting the back of my head. What? I barked, snapping back to attention. You've been staring at the ceiling for a solid 5 minutes. Did you forget how to blink? What? Hal questioned. No, not you, Hal. I was asking him how to do something. Eve explained the difference. What do you want me to do? Can it wait? I'm a little busy, he replied, confused. Not how. How. Eve sighed. What? He questioned with a hint of aggravation. No. How? What? Ugh, I give up. He began to laugh under his breath. And you say I don't have a sense of humor. The color settled on the paper, giving a blackish-green coloring with the liquid. Hal traced his finger down the number list until he found the appropriate color. 875933, he read aloud. I'll try entering that into the system to see what comes up, Eve said, pulling out her laptop. Okay, got it. Looks like a single folder with a marked image origami. It doesn't look like there are any blockers on it. Should I open it? Let me, in case it's another clue. Hal slid the computer over to him, having all eyes locked. Hal double-clicked the file, pulling it up on screen. Well, that's interesting. I'll give you that, Game Maker. A knock on the front door tore our eyes from the screen. We all stood, unsure of our next move. I pulled the gun off the table, loaded it, and pointed at the doorway. The others followed, with their own scattered weaponry. A shadowy figure stood in the light of the day, against the blocked windows that only allowed minimal visuals. The gates are functional, Eve whispered, looking at her computer. Bring up camera 9, Alice replied. Eve slid the computer over, slowly and cautiously. All eyes locked on that faint shadow. I didn't think you'd show yourself. Of course, I knew you wouldn't. Alice moved forward, discovering my own thought process. I grabbed her right arm. Her expression sent terror into my very soul. My eyes widened to the point of it hurting. I raised my hand, letting her go. It's not him, I whispered. Hopefully if I explain this, she won't kill me. It's a trick. False bait to make the game more interesting. And what makes you so sure? She growled under her breath. He's bored. Why would he be bored? Eve questioned. If he wasn't bored, there would only be 5 players. Each time the game becomes boring, the game maker introduces a new character in hopes of moving the game along. That's just plain stupid, Alice replied. I got a feeling you don't game a lot, I snapped under my breath. That just means I had a life. You just know exactly how to make my day, don't you? I huffed sarcastically. Aw, you hear that? He likes me, Alice joked. This isn't the time for this. John, you seem to know what that thing is out there. So what do? Hal whispered. Now they listen. I put my hands down to rub my temple in thought. We have 3 options. 1, answer the door. 2, do nothing. 3, try to catch them from behind. The way I see it, the game maker is childish and impatient, but not dumb. Everything he's done so far has been to lead us a step forward. He wants us to figure it out, or at least get close to the point where he can knock us down. And if I had to guess, I'd say he's our age, too. I mean, it seems odd to only take from a specific age group, doesn't it? I would have seen it differently if it was 13 to 19, but 15 to 18 seems too coincidental. He's easily distracted and annoyed on account of that cell phone incident with me. The person outside of that door is not the killer. However, they may have a connection. That well could lead us to the next clue. I mean, a picture of Alice doesn't tell us much, but if the person outside is somehow related to Alice's memories, that means we should be able to find the next clue, and then so on and so forth. Hey, Blank, I hate to interrupt your monologue, but he's gone, Alice pointed out. What? I looked at the doorway to see the shadow gone from the small pieces of a window. You have to be kidding me. The one time I have to be useful, and I blow it with a speech. Well, detective, see if he left anything, Alice commanded. I snarled my teeth at Alice, walking to the front door with caution, but at the same time, with little care. What's the worst thing that could happen? I assume it's nowhere near as bad as what Alice would do if I said no. I unlocked the front door and opened the gateway slowly. I could see the 3 at the ready behind me. At a distance, but it's the thought. A package lay on the front porch, tied with a white ribbon. I looked at the box with curiosity, tilting my head to the right. I picked up the box, shaking it slightly to be sure it wouldn't blow up. A name card rested on top of the bright wrapping paper. Alice.